Hello, I'm Maria Ressa, and this is hashtag Talk Thursday. With us today are AG Sanyo and Naderev Sanyo, two brothers who experienced Super Typhoon Yolanda, international name Haiyan, in different ways on very personal levels. Mural artist AG was in Tacloban City in the aftermath of Yolanda. He was a volunteer and he had the unenviable task to collect the bodies that were on the streets. On November 11th, 3 days after the typhoon's Philippine landfall, AG's brother Naderev, Yeb, spoke at the opening of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Poland and called for an end to the climate crisis, in his words, madness. The Sanya brothers will share their stories with us today. Welcome, AG and Yeb.
Good evening, Philippines, and good afternoon and good morning to other parts of the world.
Hello, Yeb.
Hello, and hello, Maria. Hello to all who are watching us on Talk Thursday, and happy to be joining you from Poland.
Let's start, AG. Let's start with you. You just got back. Describe what Tacloban is like now. You got back last night.
I got back last night via the U.S. Air Force C-130. I think that was the last flight of the U.S. C-130. People had been asking me how I would describe the situation now. I would usually say nightmare would be an understatement. It's anarchy and chaos all over. Although the past 2 days, we've seen some semblance of authority because the government has already installed checkpoints and several staff for Special Action Force units along the main road and around downtown. But in the outskirts, it's quite crazy. We've been hearing stories / rumors that there had been looting in the middle class areas or the subdivisions. Some people were saying that they were organized way of doing this because they heard several people shouting tsunami, tsunami. Then when people start going up their houses, the looters or the probably criminals would start breaking into their ground floors. There were conflicting reports that would say that's a rumor, that's not true, but I actually witnessed it when I stayed with a group of other media people. If I'm not mistaken, that was 3 nights ago. We went to Leyte Park to stay with a group of ABS-CBN, GMA, and other news media outfits. And when we got to the desk, the receptionist told us, please be careful with your stuff because our villa was ransacked today. They got all our belongings. So initially we got really scared, but when we got down to our villa, when we opened our door, the villa was ransacked. No more beds, and the used clothes of the media men were scattered all over. The sliding door was wide open. So the group decided, why don't we just sleep in the lobby?
Yeah.
At least we were all together there. The thing is, there's no electricity anymore, no water, and then the security person of Leyte Park Hotel already withdraw from their duties, and the people from the hotel told us, we're very sorry, but most of our staff already left. So we decided to just stay in the lobby, but they told us, we'll just give you a room downstairs at the first floor. So we went there, and we opened the sliding door because we couldn't breathe there because there's no electricity, no aircon or electric fan. We also opened our door so the wind would be able to pass through. But around 3 a.m., I got up to go to the toilet, and I closed the door. Once I got back to my bed, I heard someone pulling some stuff, and there were actually people down there getting stuff from the other villas. And I saw someone like holding a flashlight, but not constantly turned on. He would probably look at his pathway. Then if it was clear, then he would put off his flashlight. But anyway, it was a scary night. I wasn't able to sleep anymore because I was watching over. Because the night previous to that, we heard that some gun stores were already looted. He took away everything, took away all the guns and took all the bullets that were available there. 5 stores.
You're describing a state of anarchy. Is it still like that now?
Right now, like I said, there's semblance of authority along the major roads and the downtown. But the thing is, the police force and the military could only do so much.
What about food and water?
Food and water, there's a good supply coming in, good flows of supply coming in, but there are too many barangays to go to, and there are only a few available trucks that can be used by the military, by the government, by the local government.
How far did it get from the airport? Because some of the things we're told is that it doesn't get that far from the airport. The relief goods is that correct?
To tell you honestly, I wasn't able to feel or to grasp what the overall plan was really about. I volunteered for the retrieval, but after 3 days, I couldn't. I'm sorry to say, but I couldn't take it anymore. I've been seeing dead bodies, and during the third day, that was when I found out that the friend who I went to see in Tacloban was killed along with his dad, with his wife, and his little baby. So every time I see a body of a dead baby, a dead kid, it would break my heart and really wish that it wasn't the kid of my friend.
Why did you decide why did you decide to volunteer, and why with picking up the corpses?
Initially, after the heavy downpour and the strong winds, when I saw that it was the water was clearing, I went out right away to look for media people so I could find a way to tell my family, my loved ones, that I was still alive, that I survived. But while I was going around the downtown, I saw dead bodies and people were asking for help. People were asking for water, for food. And I saw this man holding his dead baby, a little girl. So what can I do? I mean, I survived and I was still standing straight. So I decided to just comfort the person, the family. And then as we walked, we would see piles of cars, dead bodies. Then when I got to the Rizal Plaza, I saw some personnel of the fire department carrying bodies. So I just immediately told myself, why don't you just help? So to ease the burden. And then from one body, another body, third body, fourth body. The next day I decided, okay, why don't I just stay with these people?
And you did this for 3 days,
3
right?
days.
My gosh, I'm going to come back and ask you about the experiences you had, but let me go to Warsaw. Yeah, what was it like when you heard about this? What happened to the Philippines?
It was, I struggled to find the words to describe the feeling. It was really horrific just hearing all of it from the news, because I was already here in Warsaw when Yolanda struck. And I knew that AG was there. And of course, Tacloban and the towns around it, Tanawan and Bulag, those are the towns where my father spent some of his childhood. That is basically the place where the Sanyo clan is. So I just couldn't imagine the impact, and it saddened me greatly. And I worried a lot for AG. But fortunately, someone posted a video clip of AG being caught on a video footage on the news. So that really greatly relieved me and then my family. But only this morning was I able to talk directly with AG.
You gave a speech at the Warsaw conference. What message did you give? I mean, we have it. We posted your speech on Thought Leaders. What did you say, and what was the reaction?
We said a lot of things, in fact, but we focused on the fact that the Philippines is now suffering from climate change impacts, and I linked climate change and Super Typhoon Yolanda. in a profound way, because we believe, and this is also based on science, that climate change will be aggravating all of these extreme events, and also increasing the potential for more intense typhoons. And the world has not been doing what it can to address the climate crisis. It is the 19th conference of the parties here in Warsaw, and we refuse. I just expressed that we refuse to accept that we will have more of these meetings without really making any tangible and ambitious uh, way of once and for all, as a global community, address this global problem. And so that was what we did. But I also included in the statement a personal note, as you would see in the statement, a personal note that this has also affected me profoundly personally, because of the fact that it was my father's hometown, and that my own brother was there picking dead bodies. And so the reaction was overwhelming, the support that we got from other countries and from civil society, especially young people here in Warsaw. It was so heartwarming, and it just was overwhelming in terms of the support and sympathy that was expressed, whether it was the standing ovation after the speech or the embraces we continued to get while we walk along the halls, and all of the my Twitter inbox is just exploding, and my Facebook inbox has exploded. I also, you would imagine, get so many media requests for interviews, but I have work to do here as well. So we kind of select. So that's it. That's the message we deliver.
Yeb, thank you for taking the time to talk to us about it. But you were one of the first people internationally to actually link Yolanda to climate change. Is there still any doubt that climate change will bring extreme weather events and that Yolanda was caused by climate change?
Yes, I have been asked that question many times these past 3 days. The uh, linking a specific or a single weather event to climate change is always difficult, and it's practically impossible to do that because you look at many factors. But science also says that there is a huge likelihood that climate change, at least looking forward in the future, it will mean more intense typhoons and more extreme events, and that is already happening. In fact, even warmer temperatures is clear. The science there is very definite. Droughts, it's very clear. Rainfall is very clear. But typhoon intensity is, they're still debating a lot about that. But there's also a lot of evidence that show that warmer oceans, simply by logic as well, would mean a stronger or more intense typhoons, because typhoons gather energy from warm waters. And also, one of the things that have been pointed out by our experts who have been trying to analyze Yolanda is that the Philippine Sea has had the highest sea level rise rate in the last 20 years, an average of about 6 inches in the last 20 years. That means the higher sea levels in the Philippine Sea, just east of the Philippines, would have contributed greatly to the storm surge. And as we have analyzed also the temperatures, the sea surface temperatures before Yolanda hit, and while it was gathering strength, the Pacific waters were just really way too warm above normal. So it may have fueled Yolanda.
Yeah, storm surge. That's something we hear a lot now, particularly after Yolanda. But before then, did we know what storm surge is and its impact, and that it could wreak this much destruction? I mean, were we prepared?
Yes, storm surge has always has been a prominent discussion in when we talk about climate impacts, uh, especially in the context of sea level rise compounded by storms,
Yes.
and even monsoon surges, which was what happened on Rojas Boulevard. So storm surge is something that many scientists are very familiar about. But Yolanda was such a powerful typhoon that has never now being considered as perhaps the most strongest typhoon in modern recorded history. No one could have prepared really enough for a typhoon that's off the charts. So it's probably category 6. They'll have to invent a category 6 now. And as we look at the devastation it has caused, it's clear that the best amount of preparation would have made it still difficult. So the storm surge is a real and imminent danger to the Philippines because we are archipelagic and we have most of our communities living in low-lying areas.
It's going to be, this is certainly has changed our psyche. AG, how do you, how would you, how has this experience affected you?
Um, I won't know yet until I feel the symptoms of shock. Right now, it's been barely a day since I got back, so I don't know yet. Although earlier I heard a psychologist said some symptoms about trauma, and it's actually clear that I've been experiencing those symptoms already. Although there's probably no time to think about that now because there's so much to do,
Yes.
so much to do for the victims of Tacloban.
Again, it's so interesting. You're an artist and you were there and you volunteered to help clear the streets of the bodies that were there. I mean, what was going through your mind? How did you feel? We hear about the smell that permeated. How did you deal with that?
Initially, it's impossible for you not to be affected, but just like the smell, you eventually get immune to it. Like on the third day of carrying bodies, we were bringing them. We placed the bodies on the dump truck, and we'd travel from point A or to point B. Point A would be anywhere there's a body, then point B would be City Hall. While we were traversing the main street, people would be covering their noses once we get to their spot, but we don't really uh, notice the smell anymore. So it seemed that we got immune to it. Just like anyone's emotions, you'd get immune to it if you constantly see it. But I actually felt everything when I was alone last night in my bedroom at home. Started to see flashbacks. That's why I made it a point not to look at the faces of the dead body, especially in the first 2 days, because on the third day they were already decomposing. At least they were deformed, so I won't recognize them anymore. But I can still see, and I can still see the face of the guy that we unearthed from the rubble at the Shell station, who was actually the personal waiter of the mayor. Um, if there's a way to delete that memory from my head, I would. But right now, it's still flashing back.
Yeah, I'm going to go to you because I know that you don't have that much time, but your last thoughts. How do you think this experience will affect Filipinos, well, your hometown, Filipinos, and what we do to deal with climate change and disaster risk reduction?
I was hoping that Typhoon Bopa or Pablo would have been an eye opener for all of us. And I guess that contributes to the kind of frustration that I feel and the sadness that I feel because this is not a single event. It's becoming a pattern of super typhoons that affect the country not just once a year but many times a year. So this should wake us up and provide us with a motivation to build a better nation because climate impacts will overtake us, and the only way we can confront or weather the storm is to build a better nation, good governance, proper land use planning, and work together as Filipinos and believe in the Filipino spirit that we can rise above adversity and above this kind of occasion. That is something that we must hold on to as a people and continue fighting for our rights at the international level because this is not just a question of environment. This is an issue that is related to the kind of economic pursuit that has adversely altered the climate system and has destroyed much of our ecology. So this is time for us to go back to the basics and protect what provides for our lives and livelihoods, which is Mother Nature.
Thank you, Yeb. And AG, I'll end with you the thoughts you have. What does Tacloban need now?
Tacloban needs attention right now. Well, not just Tacloban, but also the other uh, parts of the Visayas that were badly hit.
Yes.
We need to work together. When we say work together, let's do something as an individual. Because if many of us will do something as an individual, definitely that would be multiplied or summed up into millions. Anyone can help. Even a grade 1 or 2 student can help. You could get his clothes, old clothes, give it to the relief centers. And another thing, a lot of people have been asking, how can I get there? When I go there, what do I do? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
The
Telling you,
volunteers.
just stay home and do something from home. The other thing is, I'd like to appeal to the international community. We need a lot of help from you guys. The local government and the national government should work together closely. So the thing is, it's really hard to work while you're in shock. I'd like to commend the people and to give tribute to the people who have been volunteering, who've been working tirelessly with the operations. I'd like to commend the mayor who was reported missing because he is a survivor actually, he and his
Yes.
family.
Yes.
Um, it would be worthy to say or to tell the world that he himself had been driving the bulldozer to clear the roads because the thing is they lost a lot of personnel, they lost almost all their vehicles, they lost a lot of staff, and most of their staff had lost families, so they're really handicapped right now. We need to help them out. We need to help all the municipalities that were affected. But please, if you want to go there, make sure you have food, your own water, your own security if you need, your own vehicle, and your escape plan. Otherwise, just don't go. Just stay home. There are a lot of institutions. There's DSWD. Help DSWD. Volunteer there. Give donations. Ask your neighbor for more donations. Ask your friends for more donations.
Fantastic. We have social media questions for that have come in. I just wanted, before we end, Yeb, this is to you because you're still representing the country. From Nina Tenorio to Yeb Sano. Um, what meaningful outcomes do you expect to come out of this conference? What immediate concrete actions must the world, especially the world's biggest climate polluters, do now to reduce carbon emissions?
Yes, the meaningful outcome that we need to see here in Warsaw. Of course, every meeting has its own nuances and have its own priorities. And the specific item that we need to move forward in Warsaw right now is a very important item. This COP will have ministers meeting to discuss climate change finance. And it seems esoteric, but climate finance is the way that resources can be provided for vulnerable countries like the Philippines so that we prevent disasters like this, so that we are able to plan and implement measures that protect our people from the ravages of climate change and also allow us as well to pursue sustainable development. This is the importance of this finance discussions here, and in specifically as well, the world had established the Green Climate Fund. It's supposed to be the biggest fund in the world that aims to give resources, provide resources to vulnerable countries. But this fund is empty for the fourth year in a row. So what we want to see here in Warsaw is for countries to put money on the table and to put money where their mouths are. Well, that is one of the single biggest important issues that we have to settle here in Warsaw. The other important area that the delegation is pushing for is a mechanism for loss and damage. The mechanism for loss and damage is a platform by which the Philippines can and many other vulnerable countries can actually get the address what we refer to as the third wave of climate change, because when communities are no longer able to adapt because the impacts are just too overwhelming. Loss and damage mechanism acknowledges that countries have so far failed to adequately reduce the greenhouse gas pollution or adapt to the impacts. Now, we need the system to acknowledge these losses, and then the maximum position that we're pushing here is to provide compensation for countries that are actually incurring losses.
Okay. I know Secretary Sering will be joining you in Warsaw over the weekend. Good luck in the conference. AG survivors. What can people do for the survivors now?
Oh, it's hard to answer that question because you're so far away from. But like I said, you can do your share from afar by giving what you have, sharing what you have. If you would um, produce a compassionate country after this, then that would be a big step from a negative thing to a positive thing. Um, try to care. Try to imagine that it's your family who suffered, or it's yourself who is suffering right now. A lot of people have been have not been eating or not been drinking clean water for the past week. Uh, I was told that there have been about 33 or so barangays that have been reached by the relief efforts already. But I was also told, although I'm not sure about this, but there are more than 100 barangays waiting to be served. Um, it's very difficult for the government to work by themselves.
Did you get the idea that there's now a sense of authority, that someone is in charge and things are moving?
As far as the visually, yes, because there are police and MMDA, there's the army along the main roads.
Yes.
But we're not talking about the main roads only. You have a lot more barangays in the outskirts that have not been reached. The government must at least do something or devise a plan just to show up. There's what we call the Ministry of Presence. Just be there. Just if we have packs that's good for 3 days, why don't we just cut it into half? So instead of, let's say, serving about 400 people, then immediately you serve 800. At least they would have they would feel that they're being taken care of.
Yeah.
Then you can sustain their hunger, their thirst for another day or 2 days. At least they found someone who's willing to take care of them. They get the semblance of authority because the government is there.
A
Kasi we,
presence.
we would serve 400 people only, but when you can actually serve 800, why don't we do that now? And also they need a lot of sources for drinking water. So
Yeah.
why don't we put up a drinking station where people would come and get their water and go? I noticed that people had been flocking to the city hall
Yes.
because they heard that all the goods are going to the city hall. But when they get there, no one would give them food. No one would give them drink because it's just a repacking station. But since the people are already there, why don't we put up a station where they can receive their goods?
Why wasn't that done?
I don't have an
No one
idea.
asked.
I don't have an
Okay.
idea.
Okay, AG, thank you. Yeb, thank you so much. We've
Thank you
been
as well.
speaking with the brothers Sanyo. Naderev from Warsaw, Poland, where he's representing the Philippines in a conference on climate change, and AG Sanyo, who is just back from Tacloban, a harrowing experience, their personal experiences of Typhoon Yolanda. This is the worst disaster the Philippines has faced. We will be hearing more as we see the extent of the damage in the coming days and weeks. I'm Maria Ressa. Thanks for watching Talk Thursday.
Thank
Grabe.
you.